I was going to get that friend. I'm here with Josh Fremd, who makes his UFC debut next Saturday at UFC 273. Josh, how are you?
And I am as good as I possibly can be. I'm happy. I'm stoked. I'm in shape. I'm ready to go. And I'm making my UFC debut, man. I'm pumped about that.
Yeah, man. You're 8 days out. How you feeling?
I feel great. My weight's low. Had a really good little conditioning push today. I put myself through a little circuit today because I'm not allowed to spar anymore. And Fridays are usually our sparring days at Factory X. So I feel great. My diet's been solid. I wouldn't even really consider it a diet, considering like I eat the same stuff every day, no matter what. I'm healthy. I'm ready to go.
Short notice. Have you been ready for the short notice call?
Yeah, yeah. I kind of figured. I know how this game works, and I'm not some highly touted prospect coming out of Ireland or anything like that. So I'm not going to get along, at camp. But luckily for me, I aligned with a group of guys here in Factory X who we don't do camps anyway. We're living the martial arts lifestyle. We're training every single day. We're in the gym. This is our main priority. And I was ready for 8 days. I was ready for 4 days. It wouldn't have mattered to me.
I mean, you're making your UFC debut. How the hell did that feel?
It's pretty cool. So far it's obviously it's all hearsay. Obviously I'm going to do it, but to me it doesn't really mean anything until I'm in the moment. But being able to, hear guys like you say that to me, it's really cool. I'm not gonna let it, take a big portion of my attention, but in some moments when I sit down and I reflect about it and I think about it, I'm like, that's really cool because it's 10 years of just hard work and sacrifice to just start. Like, I'm literally just starting. I'm first fighting the UFC, so I got a long way to go. I'm just excited that I finally get to make the walk.
Yeah, I mean, I bet it's even more special just because, like, you were so close last year. You're on the fucking doorstep. You get your your opportunity ripped away from you. You fight back, and then boom.
Yeah, I mean it's very typical of my sports, I guess, career. I'm always getting close, and then something happens to where I like two steps back, and then I just fight even harder to make it happen. And I like that. I would rather it be that way than have a skyrocket undefeated record going in there because it shows that I can withstand some trials and tribulations.
Sure, for sure. Before we talk about your fight, Mitchell Trubisky to the Steelers. I know you're much more optimistic about it than me. What the fuck? What's I don't know. I mean,
I started off originally. I know I was like, no, like verbal meme, Michael Scott, no, no, no. But yeah, I'm talking myself into it. He was the number 2 overall pick. We're getting a reset here in Pittsburgh. He was behind Josh Allen last year, and he was the Nickelodeon MVP. So we got some good things coming.
um, I mean, do you think this season's going to be a wash, or do you think that maybe we have a chance?
I think we have a chance to make it late into the season with playoff hopes. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say we're going to win our division by any means, but I think that going into late in the season, we will still have hopes of like we might be able to get in there. We might be able to sneak in there because a lot of people have said that, in a lot of the teams here, you either have a really good team or you have like a stud at quarterback. And I think that the Steelers fall into the category of a really good team. We just don't have an absolute stud at quarterback. And I mean, even Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer, great numbers, and he was great at extending the plays, but you wouldn't consider him a stud crazy. You wouldn't consider him Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or that type of quarterback. But he fit in the team, and he was good enough whereas the team was also good enough to win. And I think that that's where the Steelers are at now. They've made some great picks and pickups, and I think we have a good enough team overall. We just need a good quarterback. You see how I'm talking myself into it?
I am. I mean, you're so good at talking, bro. Like you already kind of convinced me. Like, man, I mean, shit. Maybe I shouldn't just totally trash this dude. Like, all right, maybe I was knock on wood. I really
Yeah.
know. All right. So I wanted to touch on your fight with Joe Bauman real quick, man. How do you feel about the performance? And you had told me 2 days before that fight that you were not leaving Kansas without a UFC contract. Well, you left. You left Kansas.
Man, it was close. I almost thought I wasn't going to leave there with one after all the performances that happened after me. But I'm blessed that I was able to get the UFC contract. Overall, my performance, I'm happy I got the win. I'm not happy in the way I got the win. I didn't really wake up until the second round. That's something that I need to work on, as in, just right when the bell rings, I need to be there. I need to be there. I can't take these shots. I can't pull Patty Pimblett and just get rocked every single time I go out there and then wake up. So happy for the win. I'm happy with some of the things I did. But overall, that it wasn't I personally don't think it was my best performance. And I did an interview the other day where the guy said that I looked like I belonged at the next level. And I really appreciate that. It's just, I hold myself to a standard that, I have this vision of what I believe I could get to and what I can be like. And every day, I'm just chasing that goal. So I'd give that performance a 5 out of 10. And hopefully this next one I can throw out a 10, maybe a 9. That'd be pretty cool.
What is it about you not waking up until that second round? Was it just it is what it is? Like, was it kind of maybe nerves? Like, what was it?
Nah, I think it's been pretty evident in a lot of my fights. It's kind of like when I was playing football, like until that first hit happens, it gets you going. It's like, oh, okay, we're here. Let's do this. It was nothing about the moment, nothing about anything except I think just myself. Like, I like fighting so much that I'm not afraid to take a couple shots to like get myself going, get my adrenaline going, get a little blood. I had a little bit of blood coming out and I was like, all right, I'm alive. Let's do this.
Did you meet the Nelk boys that night?
I did after my fight, which one of the biggest regrets I'll have in my life. The first one is a Post Malone concert I never made it to, but this one is after the fight, I went down when they were sitting cage side and dapped them all up, and I asked them for a beer if they had a beer. And, I started getting a little awkward because I was like, a couple seconds have went by and no one's responding to me. So let me just, remove myself from this situation. And then a couple days later, my buddy who was there showed me the video of them going to get a beer for me, turning around. And as they turn around, beer and cup in hand, I'm walking the other way. And it's just, emotional damage.
Yikes. Well, it is what it is, right? I guess you'll have another opportunity in the future.
It won't happen.
Cool, man. All right, so Anthony Hernandez. Firstly, did you know who he was before he was offered to you?
Yes. Yeah. I'm a big nerd of MMA. I do my own little radio show out here in Denver every week, and I just love fighting so much. Like, yeah, I knew who he was. I watched a bunch of his fights even before I was matched up with him. And believe it or not, a couple weeks ago when I was looking at the cards that were coming up, excuse me, and just looking at different matchups, different fights, like, oh, if this guy fell out, I'd jump in here, I'd do this, I'd do that. And Hernandez was one of those guys. I was like, I think for my first UFC fight, that's a pretty solid matchup. I'm not getting thrown to some Russian Dagestani killer. I'm getting someone who like we like to fight. We're good at fighting, and we're going to go out there and scrap, and it's going to be a war, possible fight of the night type of fight.
How do you like the matchup?
I like the matchup. I do. Like I said, I think we're both scrappy. I think we both have a lot of heart and a lot of grit. And I think that he is going to be more than willing to stand up and trade with me. And then I feel like once he feels what I'm coming with, I don't think he's going to want to anymore, and he might start wrestling. And I definitely believe that I have the better wrestling.
Do you think the fact that he's had now 3 different opponent changes plays in his favor, or is that a negative?
It all depends on who he is as a person, and as a fighter. I think that I've went through that as well in the regional scene. People dropping out and different opponents, short time. Which I believe he is a real fighter, and if he is doing everything the right way, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. He just came off a huge win against Adolfo Vieira, so I'm sure his confidence is sky high right now. And I'm sure he's like the type of guy like, oh, it doesn't matter who you put in front of me. I'm going to go out there and fight. And I love that about him. I think that that's why this is going to make for such an interesting fight.
What do you think of his submission of Rodolfo Vieira?
I thought it was cool. I won me some money, but but I was just more or less shocked at how fast Vieira gassed. Like, you could count it down like 1 minute and 47 seconds, and then he was toast. And I don't understand that. I don't get that. So that's very interesting. So if Vieira, didn't gas, who knows how that fight would have ended up. But I thought it was crazy, and you never see that coming from, Anthony Hernandez type of fighter versus the type of fighter that Vieira is.
So you've already kind of laid out how you think the fight's going to play out, man. Do you have a prediction for the fight?
Blood. I believe it's going to be violent. He looks like he loves to scrap. I'm going to come to the middle, and we're going to stand there, and I'm not taking a step back. I don't plan on taking a step back, and I'm going to go out there and fight. I finally made it to where I've been telling people that I believe I belong. And now I got to go out there, and I just got to prove it once more that I deserve this seat at the table.
Your UFC debut is in front of a sold-out arena, how it should be. How excited are you?
So excited, dude. I can't sit here and lie to you and say that it is any different than, if we were in the 7-Eleven parking lot scrapping. Like, I just love to fight. But to be spoiled, because I know a lot of my teammates who made their UFC debut was during the pandemic, and they're still fighting in front of empty arenas and whatnot, like at the Apex. So for me to be able to jump on this card in Florida, when I have a big history of like friends and everything and past plans to go to Florida, I think it just comes around full circle for me.
That's kind of last thing I was going to ask. Have you fought in Florida before? And then who's going to be in your corner on Saturday?
No, I've never fought in Florida. I've went down for training camp a couple times when I was in college. It was Combat Club before it was Hard Knocks. Before it was Combat Club, it was Black Zillions, the Hard Knocks, now to Sanford. My best friend in college is the manager in Sanford, and one of my other best friends trains down in Sanford. He's been there since the Black Zillion days, and I always thought that was going to be, where I was going to end up, with my boys fighting. And, some things happened, and I came out to Colorado on a whim, on just prayer and no money and a tank of gas, and I fell in love with it. So it's a really cool experience out here, and I'm glad I did, because I got to meet the coaches that I'm going to have in my corner. Randy Caruso, he's been with me since the day I got here. He's been with me since my first LFA fight. And I'm going to have the general, Mark Montoya, with me. So I'm super excited to just have those group of guys with me.
Awesome. Finally, for me, what do you want the rest of your year to look like? You go out there, get a win. Do you want to turn back around? You want to take some time off, enjoy it? What's your plan?
I want to win first. Like, there's nothing else really on my mind besides winning my first UFC fight, because it's one thing to make it there. It's another thing to win there. And I'm not here to just say I made it. I'm here to win a couple fights, get a streak going, and possibly one day fight for the belt. If it's everything goes according to plan, I'm going to get a win. I'm going to fly home to Denver in a couple days, take care of some stuff, wait for my check to clear, fly home to Pittsburgh. I'm going to go to a baseball game or two. You know, the Pirates opening day is next week, and I think it's on the 8th, I believe. And I'm going to go to PNC Park. I'm going to grab some beers. I'm going to sit there and watch 9 innings of the Pirates lose baseball, but I'm going to love it. And yeah, and then I want to get right back to work and get right back on it.
Sounds like a fucking great plan to me. Josh, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. You want to plug your social media, plug any sponsors you got? Want to thank anybody? The floor is yours.
Yeah, hey man, I always appreciate shooting the shit with you. It's always fun. Well, you guys can check me out on Josh Fremd MMA. That's my Instagram. That's my Twitter. That's basically where I am all the time. I want to give a huge shout out to my sponsors, Blazy Susan and Eddie Holmes, especially Eddie Holmes. They've been with me since I was an amateur. When I was in college, they gave me work, you know, picking up stones and cleaning up job sites to eventually moving on up and, you know, building and remodeling some houses. But they've been awesome. And then Blazy Susan has been just great. They've been awesome since I moved out here to Denver. Got that Pittsburgh ties back home.